So the next question was from Krager. He says, top 5 things newish blues guitarists should listen to or learn to do when they want to play blues. So,
Gosh, top 5 things.
or just, it doesn't have to be 5 exactly. But
certainly in no order. Well, maybe the top 5 things are vibrato, just that absolute characteristic fingerprint of how you strike the string and how you make it sound. I just hear so many really bad vibratos.
Yeah,
I guess
same.
again,
and bends as well.
Yeah, that's right. So I think I'd rather you not learn, all the pentatonic licks, etc., but just learn. So that classic B.B. King lick, that kind of simple thing.
One of my 3.
Exactly. But you know what? I'd rather have 3 that sound like that than 10 that sound crap. But yeah, just getting that vibrato like a voice, like a human voice, because no one likes someone who goes, "Oh, my baby," they don't just like that stuff. They really want a vibrato that is expressive, and so 3 notes, 1 note, whatever, just hitting it. So, if I had my time over again, instead of learning all these licks that probably amount to nothing, vibrato, where you can make 1 note sound so much better than a flurry of 10.
That's why I always liked Clapton's playing. Because his vibrato was the vibrato that I wanted to sound like. It was just the best. It was never always intense. He played it in conjunction with the feel of the song. It doesn't have to always be like aggressive, like you said before. But he always had a really great touch, and I love that. And I think another important thing would just be bend with intention.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
So many guys that learn where the notes are, they bend, but they're not hitting something. They're just bending a note up to like some random Egyptian scale,
totally.
as we say to our friend Khaled.
No one can do it like him.
What do they call it? The microtonals.
Microtones, exactly.
They don't quite work well over blues. If you're not bending properly, it's like...
there's this interesting bend where it sort of goes between a minor third and a major third. Okay. It's this sort of no man's land, but it works. But you've got to still do it with intent.
That's what.
It straddles that territory between minor and major, and I dig that sound. But just bending for the sake of pushing wire around, it just sounds like a cat being tortured, and it's really unpleasant for your ear. But I remember I saw a video. I think might have been Larry Carlton, who is awesome. Kids, if you want to learn the blues, just listen to Larry Carlton, and I'll see you in 10 years when you've got down a couple of these things. But he played a whole scale bending into the notes. And so you can tell if a scale's out. And and that was just a great drill for getting your intonation right on the bends. It's really, really important to make it sound musical and hit that note. So, having pitch is important. But, when you're bending it, know what you're going for, where you're going to, and get there, because it's sort of unsatisfying for the listener if you but you never get there. Those
bends that feel like they lose the battery in the last moment as well. They sort of fall down in a weird way as well.
Oh, don't you like those? I do them all the time.
I think the easiest way to know if you're bending correctly, and this is still something I practice when I know I have not, my technique suffers with the bends, is play a note, go back 2 frets and bend up to another note and see, and just hit the note you're trying to get to over and over and see if you're making the same pitch.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
different guitars are a different challenge too, I think, with bends.
For sure. A Fender will always fight you more than a Gibson with the longer scale length. Yeah. And I find that if I haven't played for a while, that's the first thing that kind of goes, because you need strength to bend. And you also, recruit other fingers to help you do the work. Mm-hmm. But if I haven't played for a while, that's I just noticed that my bends lose sort of accuracy or that sort of intensity that you want, because you need to be putting a certain amount of energy into the string to get it to pitch. Mm. So I mean, I think vibrato and bending is really important, and phrasing.
I was about
phrasing.
to say that. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, so no one like someone who talks like this all the time and never takes a break, because that's terrible to listen to. So, I mean, I think listening to horn players is great, because they have to take a breath, and I think it's the same for guitar players, that you can play a line and then have a break, because you might have implied some sort of musical theme in that first line, and then you might like to either repeat it or do a call and response thing.
Yeah.
And if there's just a whole flurry of notes, it just makes no sense. So, I think phrasing vocally, or phrasing like listen to a horn player, they're the sorts of things. I know Robin Ford, he actually plays a bit of saxophone too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's Chris Kane.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, he used to play sax.
I knew there's reasons why I hated those guys, because I've heard
they played together as well.
Did they?
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Chris Kane was in the Robin Ford band back in the day.
Well, no, I think Robin Ford has said that Chris Kane is the baddest ass blues player there is.
I think Tommy Castro said the same thing.
Did he?
Or a very similar thing to that as well. He's
all
like
these guys in the Bay Area, man. It's man, that's a cool area.
So in terms of like the phrasing thing, you just go through all the classic players, I guess, would be you got your B.B. King stuff, you've got Clapton, Albert Collins is another one who I think phrases beautifully. His attack is great too,
Yeah.
And to add one thing to, I guess, this list, it would also be attack, string attack.
Yep.
Would be something to be conscious of. No one wants every note to sound the same in its dynamic, which means like, if you play all your notes soft, it's boring. If you play all your notes like you want to kill the guitar, it gets overbearing. So there's a way to accentuate certain notes in a scale. Even if you're plonking up and down on the pentatonic, hit a couple of those notes really hard and they really jump out. Even if you're a beginner and you haven't learnt licks, that'll teach you to, attack.
Yeah. I mean, I think, that's exactly right. I think dynamics is what you look at too, isn't it? You can't blast all night. I mean, I've tried it and it's fun.
You can.
Yeah, but no one wants to hear that. They'd rather hear, the ebb and flow of the music. I remember a good mate of mine, Shannon Bourne, who plays around town. He says that he loves it when a band can go from like a freight train to hearing a pin drop.
Yeah,
and that's. When you're in the audience and that happens, it's just magic. It really is magic. And, the last few gigs we've been playing, there's a lot of really good stuff like that goes on.
Oh, absolutely.
Where it goes really quiet. And there's a guy called Philip Sace. I don't know if you've heard of Philip at all.
I know the name.
Yeah, he's a crazy Canadian Strat guy. And sometimes he literally turns the volume off on his guitar and plays. And you just hear the plinking sound of.
Was he hold it up to the mic or something?
No,
okay.
no. So like, there's people, like most droogs at gigs these days with a phone like this.
Yeah.
And he'll actually play without it being plugged in, and you just hear the pick hitting the string. And and it's kind of. I mean, I know it's probably a bit of an exaggeration, but I love where it can go really, really, really quiet.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in Australia, what tends to happen when you play a quiet blues song is you hear everyone talking. It's a cue to, the band's going to be sensitive now. Let's start talking really loud.
That's what they say about bass solos as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's I don't know. I don't know if I've seen it overseas as much as I have here, but it just seems to be a cue to start talking.
Yeah,
as opposed to being in the zone and. One of the things about playing the blues for me is that, it's a real expression of whatever stuff you've got inside.
Yeah.
And so it's really quite disheartening when you're focusing on something really intense and sensitive and you just hear all the opponents going blah, 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 blah. So anyway.
It's kind of feels like the equivalent of Abraham sending this stuff out and me just burning it on camera. It's brutal. It's like, oh man, I put all these years into my craft.
You sweat it over it. I mean, they're awesome. I think they're really evocative, and But anyway, yeah. So dynamics I think is a really important thing for the blues as well.
Another thing I would suggest as well is just keep your ears open for what makes the players you listen to great.
Yep.
I don't know if that's 5, but if you've got another one we can add, go for it.
That's
because I knew as soon as I heard Rick, I heard Brian, and a few of our other friends, I'm like, these guys are great. Like, what makes them sound so good? There's always reasons why. If it's
extreme volume would be mine. But you're right. What sort of makes it distinctive for your ear?
Yeah.
I guess when we think of Chris Kane, it's a lot of the sort of passing stuff that he does.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's just this humour in his playing. I mean, there's humour in his clothing too, with his Bimmer Bros overalls. But his personality comes out in his playing. He's just it's great. But there's sort of jazz stuff in it as well.
He sounds unique. He sounds familiar, but at the same time, he sounds like himself.
Yeah.
And that's an important thing. Like, I could be outside and there might be 15 guitar players in a room. I'll know if you're playing or I'll know if Brian's playing. And people say that sometimes about my playing. They're like, oh, I knew that was you. Like, I could hear the guitar. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Cool. So I might actually have, you steal a lot of stuff, but you end up not sounding like a clone.
I know you've got your signature licks. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, tell me about it. I hear about that all the time. I'm working on it.
No, come on. That's great.
I think B.B. King had 5 licks, so no.
He did. B.B. King did it. And, Albert Collins had sort of 5 licks as well.
Yeah.
Tuned to F minor, put a capo on.
Yeah.
But, it's not what you got. It's what you do with it and how you drop it in and how it all fits. And they say that blues music, just because it's simple, doesn't make it easy. I don't know, people have under the misapprehension that blues is, anyone can do that. It's just pentatonic. Yeah. But if you just play a random pentatonic scale over a blues progression, it'll sound exactly like that, a scale. Yeah. It'll have no life, no meaning.
That's it.
So, and I think playing the blues is like a lifetime of learning and advancing. And I mean, yourself, if you listen to a gig from 5 years ago, you go, I was doing that then. And
you're right. Even a few years ago, I can hear my approach change. And I guess also doing so many videos, there's those, you don't want to break copyright rules as well. So there's things I play a lot, but I'm actually bringing in a lot of new stuff. And when I listen back, I'm like, man, even the way that I approach something that I might still do now is very different. Yeah. The feel's not as good, and the fluidity isn't there. So, it's sort of a strange... you're always learning. Even the stuff you think you know well, you can improve on it and change it up.
Thanks for watching the In the Blues podcast. Subscribe for more episodes.